Hi guys, Hishiro here. So I'm in the middle of a moving, you can see the background kinda changed. But yeah, I wanted to do this quick video to talk about the recent announcement that we had on the tournament format for Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. So a few days ago we had the pre-release stream with lots of announcements, and today I want to focus on the news of the competitive scene. So first, the winner of the World Championship this year will win 100,000 yen. That's like $500,000. But we already knew that. What's new is that now we know that it starts in December 26, so around the Christmas period, like usual, and we know how to qualify. So there will be 30 spots, 7 of them taken by people that qualified from Shadowverse 1, back in 2024, when we didn't know yet that there was going to be a delay for Worlds Beyond. And we see that the Shadowverse Open region, which will be America, Europe, and Southeast Asia, and Oceania too, will get 4 slots. So I do believe it's the same as the last time we had the World Championship, which was 2 for the West of America plus Europe and 2 for CO. I'm just praying that they keep the region separated, because else it gets really difficult for the time zones to have tournaments that run properly for all zones. Else sometimes you would have scenarios where it starts at 10 AM for Asia and 2 AM for Europe. But the biggest news, and the one I want to talk about today, is the tournament match format, which is going to be best of 1, 2 decks. So that means that you bring 2 decks to the tournament, but you only play 1 game. You choose like one of the 2, you see like what class your opponent is going to play, and you have to make your choice like that. And so in competitive circles, I've seen mixed reactions about this change. Not really hostile, but kinda hesitant on whether it's good or bad. So today I kinda want to see like what are the upsides of this change, what are the downsides, and what I think about it currently. So we do have a point of reference for this tournament format, and it's the Shadowverse Weekend. It's a series of tournaments we had like in 2022, I believe, and onwards. And the concept is that you play 5 Swiss rounds in best of 1. You can play any deck you want. You can like play the same decks for all 5 rounds, or you can pick a different one each round, switch up if you lose, do whatever you want. You won 1 pack per round that you completed, and if you completed all rounds, you got added to raffle for real-life goodies, like promo cards, towels, badges, etc. And originally there was no rewards for winning, but they listened to the player feedback and they made a special raffle for the people that went 5-0. So this tournament was really aimed for casual, and the goal was more to have like people try out tournaments in a stress-free environment, and then maybe join the real SVO events. I'm not sure if it really worked. Like I saw a lot of people from SVO playing these tournaments just to have like more Shadowverse. And sure, there were some people from I believe the Reddits that came to like grind some packs. But the point is that the experience is like so different between the Shadowverse Weekend and the SVO, I don't think it recruited many players. And personally, I got disinterested in those tournaments because there was no big stakes. I kept on losing the raffles, so didn't see the point. And the communities was seen as a glorified Grand Prix. Sure, you could play it if you want, if you have the time for it, but you didn't like try out to win the Shadowverse Weekend. So now let's imagine like what the SVO or like all of our tournaments, like the Rage, the online tournaments, will become in best of 1. So let's look at the upsides. So the first one what I see is that tournaments will run a lot faster. In best of 3, we have to play tournaments for 7 to 8 hours with 7 rounds of Swiss, and in best of 1 it will probably go down to 2 to 3 hours. So if you are someone that couldn't commit the time for an SVO, now you can have like more liberty to do so in best of 1. Second point I see is that it's less time needed for preparation, because you have the option to only train and really try out 1 deck and only pick this one for the rest of the tournament. You don't have to pick the second one. And if you are into that strategy, it's also easier for free-to-play players to enter, because you only need to build 1 real deck and you can put a jank deck on the other side. We don't have the details on where it's going to be closed list, so cannot see the opponent deck list, or open list, where you can see the opponent deck list. But if it is closed list, then yeah, you can just do whatever you want with the other deck. Of course, if your goal is really to try to win the event, what you will likely do is pick the best deck, or the one that you are the most comfortable with, and your second deck can be used to cover for its bad matchups. For instance, you main Sword, and you enter the tournament, you see your opponent is having an Haven deck, and let's say that Haven has a very good matchup into your Sword deck. But then your second deck can be Portal, which I say has a very good matchup into that Haven. So you can like use the Portal deck to make sure that if they Q Haven, you're not going to have like a Nautilus. So in that sense, it's better than 1 deck best of 1. Because in that format, like if you hit a really bad matchup and you just like out of the tournament. Now let's look at the downsides of this format compared to best of 3. So of course, in best of 1, luck play a bigger role. If you get high rolled in a best of 1, you have no way to recover. and if you get high roll twice, you're out of the tournament. Whereas in best of 3, like you can get high roll once, but if you are really better and your other 2 decks are solid enough to beat the opponent's second deck, then you can make a comeback. Second potential problem is that if there is a clear best deck in the meta, you might like enter the tournament and play only against it, or like play 5 rounds out of 7 against it, and that could get very boring. At least in SBO we had the ban format, where you can ban any deck of your opponents, and just cover for the rest of the decks. And the first bad point that I can see is that the most competitive players, the ones that play tournaments back in Shadowverse 1, if they see that it's now best of 1, and they get out of the tournament because of like a bit too much, I might just lose interest and stop participating. And we have to see like if it even ups with the people that are joining in against the people that are leaving because of the format. Now, I do want to add some nuance to all that I said. So regarding the luck aspects, Worlds Beyond seems to have a lot less RNG than Shadowverse 1. Now you have 4 cards in your mulligan, so less ways to just not hit your strategy. And so far we've seen like just 1 card with random return on it, that was Artrus, that was easily manipulable, deal 2 damage 2 times. And before, going first really played a big role in a lot of matchups, but now they kind of buff going second with the extra play points. We have to see if it's enough to really even up going second and first, but maybe the luck aspect of the game won't be that bad. And even in best of 1, the games will be decided by player decisions. The second thing is something that they clarified in the recent SBO announcements, that we got a bit after the stream, and is that the best of 1 format will only be for the first round of the tournament, the preliminaries, and after that, from the player phase to the finals, it will be in best of 3 Nova. So it's still going to be the majority of the tournament, and what most players joining this tournament will experience, but at least the players that get to the finals, the top 8, will be people playing best of 3, and will have more opportunity to show off skill expression. Also because there's a week between the preliminaries and the playoff, July to August, players will be able to change their deck between the 2 phases if they want to. Which makes sense because the meta can really evolve between 2 weeks, and if you're thinking about best of 3, you might have to build your deck differently. I'm also thinking that this best of 1 format might be something that they're only doing for the first year of the game. We have 6 months until the next World Championship, and the game is all new, so they really want people to come in, so that even free-to-play players can enter the tournament, enter the game, really get invested. So it makes sense to ease it up for them for the early stages, and maybe go back to best of 3 for all rounds starting from 2026. We'll have to see like what kind of success this kind of best of 1 format will have. And in the end, even if we are worried that luck might be a big component in best of 1, we always complain about card games being all luck, but it's always the same players that we see at the top. And really, all of these years taught me that when you are able to make the best decisions always, it will improve your consistency over time, no matter the format, no matter the rules. So yeah, this is where I'm at. I'm willing to try it, I'm willing to see if it has positive impacts, and of course I'm going to try my best to qualify for Grand Prix this year. But yeah, let me know what you think about this change. I'm really curious about your opinion. We've been gathering like around the community like what people think about that. So yeah, tell me in the comments. Worlds Beyond is releasing in 2 days only. You can already pre-download the game on Steam and on phone if you want. On the day of the release, I'm going to stream on Twitch. You have the link in the description down there. And we'll be starting at 6 PM Europe time. I will write down whatever is the time zone for you. So come and join us to see the fun. I'm very excited for the release. I will have a lot of guides for decks and gameplay in the upcoming days. So make sure to subscribe to not miss any of that. This is gonna be great. I cannot wait to be a 3D Daria. Alright, take care and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!